Let us pray. Almighty God, we ask for your blessing and wisdom upon this Parliament. Direct and prosper proceedings to the peace and welfare of the people of Solomon Islands. We ask this in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Okay, Parliament resumes.
Asking and answering of questions.
Question number 29 to be asked by the Leader of Opposition and MP for Aoke Langalanga. Honourable Leader.
So, question 29, amicable Minister Blow Communication and Aviation. Let me read also. Can the Minister inform the House on steps taken to address the alleged misappropriation of Telecommunications Commission Solomon Islands funds? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to thank my good friend, the Leader of Opposition, for the question. Mr. Speaker, the process has taken its course. A meeting was held between the Minister, a Permanent Secretary, and the Evaluation Committee. And the Evaluation Committee are composed of the Chairman of the Law Reform, the Governor of Central Bank, and the Chair Lady for SIKI, Solomon Island Chamber of Commerce. In that meeting, we have decided to give a notice of show cause to the Commissioner to respond to the allegation given to him. As to date, that is the current situation, but the process has taken its course. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Leader of Opposition.
And in the meantime, Commissioner, I'm still at post, and what controls are in place in terms of safeguarding Finances Law Commission?
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for the Leader of Opposition for the supplementary question. The Commissioner is still in office. The so-called notice should be submitted to the Minister in the mid of this month. So as soon as I can see the response, I will do further a notice to him whether it needs an independent inquiry or what actions we'll need to do. However, Mr. Speaker, I think the process has taken place, so I don't really want to elaborate much on this one. Make sure the process takes its course and see where we get. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honourable Leader.
Yeah, thank you. Just the second part of my supplementary question on law, side law, Finances Law Commission, the governance around that. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The finances are controlled by the accounts officer, or the financial person who is in charge of the finance. I've given him a notice to be careful with what I'm doing. But apart from that, that's was a medium long accounts officer for Lulu Good Lord accounts here. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable MP for West Tarare.
Thank you, Speaker. Supplementary question. Thank you, Minister, for the answers for you. The fact that Hemi still low work, what kind of quarantine by Hemi no sal play a waiting market valuable documentation with regards to this matter. That's first. Second is, if he is a signatory law at the account law commission, how now by him to assure the process of accountability by him still Rentam Law Commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for the supplementary question from MP Blongo West Arare, my good friend. Evaluation committee is there for monitor the commission. But the step that the ministry have taken is to review the Communication Act. I think, Mr. Speaker, I can say that Commissioner have act follow act numana act belong communication. So the ministry has taken steps to review the Communication Act so that issues like this one have no happen more in the future. The Commissioner is the third person in charge here. First and second, even worse there, Mr. Speaker said. So suppose the act have been not reviewed, the next commissioner comes by same number 2 or even worse. So the ministry has taken steps to review the Communication Act, so as the Aviation Act. People are similar basket law Aviation Act too, yeah, where the director of aviation is in charge of him too. So we're looking at how for managing of the funds that have gone to follow basket here. So that's how the ministry has responded to him. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you. Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate that move for review. That must go ahead. But in this matter, I think Hemi not good enough for Minister Hemi say that, this one in Follow Acted, there are allegations of personal, use of funds. And that cannot be consistent with the Telecommunications Act. But there are fundamental structural weaknesses with the Act, and it's important that that review may take place. But in the meantime, this matter, in terms of investigation, does need to happen. The Evaluation Committee really is acting outside its powers too, in acting like a board, because it really is not a board. It's a weakness in the Act, unfortunately. So my question, sir, is at what stage would a referral to the police and the DPP may happen on this one? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think the so-called notice him should submit along the middle of this month. But I was told that I think the case him report along police finish here by the evaluation committee. That's what I was told. So that one he let him out the committee not doing that one yet. Me as a minister, me must make sure follow process for addressing this whole issue. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you. Honourable MP for East Malaita.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Supplementary question. Hello, Minister, Deputy Prime Minister. Is there any possible way of suspension? Since when case is reported to police, I mean, that's how Imisawe all along throughout processes when there is a suspected misconduct. And when it is reported to police, then a person must be always suspended here. That is my question. But since I'm in office yet, me knows why I'm still in office, but we just ask him question. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, and thank you, Longo, MP Longo East Malaita. The so-called notice him given for him respond lot allegations here. What allegations here him true or no more? So I can't give action for suspending him until him give me the so-called notice, and that should be within a week time. So in the middle of this month, him should give him now. Then whether I give a independent inquiry, that's the next step for doing. So as I've stated earlier, the process has taken a course. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Honourable MP for Northwest New Georgia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. One supplementary question. From the answers given by the Minister, steps taken, more or less administrative steps, a review of legislation and something else. The question here is on the misappropriation of funds here. It's the funds. Any steps ministry have taken for dig into the funding aspect? Has there been any internal audit instructed by the ministry for carrying out that one, or any other steps we have taken apart from legislative reviews? Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Audit belum 2022 hem kasih office belum, and I have asked the commissioner to further do audit kasih 2024. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. No further supplementary questions, Honourable Leader.
Thank you, sir. I do wish to thank the Honourable Minister and urge him to press on and make timely decisions in this matter. Unfortunately, it's a key regulator in our telecommunications. It's the only regulator. But unfortunately, given the nature of negotiations for outing monopoly from telecom last time now, that's why I got to insist one commissioner is the commission. Now we shouldn't be bound by that. It is nonsense. And so I'm happy to hear that if I'll review, there should be a proper commission of several persons making these kinds of decisions. I am concerned, however, sir, to say that funds law commission are controlled by the accounts officer. Masih accounts officer ko control yang gogo end up osemiana. So if man necessita antape men for hosimem, may tayo I'm sorry lem tu. So I think more stringent steps need to be taken. But in a week, we should hear a decision on whether police investigation and other things need to kick in and a suspension is in order. So with that, I do thank the Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Leader. Next question, or question number 30, I think. Do we have to ask for the Leader of Opposition?
Yeah, thank you, sir. Question number 30, Amicable Minister of Foreign Affairs. But PM could not, okay, Prime Minister could answer. And let me read also. Sir, on 20th July 2023, I asked a question on reuniting Solomon Islands Father with his 2 children being held in Papua New Guinea. The Minister's reply at that time, of course, was the Prime Minister, was that our High Commission in PNG was collaborating on coming up with an amicable solution to the case. What is the current status of the CY Now kids in Papua New Guinea? Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Prime Minister, we're going to respond on behalf of the Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As the Minister is here to arrive, but I will try my best to respond to this important question. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to provide an update regarding the welfare and legal status of the children, Messi and Cinderella CY Now, who are currently under the care of the Papua New Guinea Immigration and Citizenship Authority, ICSA, in Port Moresby. Mr. Speaker, the case of the CY Now sisters is a matter that has engaged both Papua New Guinea and Solomon Islands governments, particularly in view of the children's dual heritage. While both girls are currently holders of Solomon Islands passports, the government of Papua New Guinea recognizes them as Papua New Guinea citizens by virtue of their late mother's nationality in accordance with the Papua New Guinea Constitution. So in 2024, a legal case was brought forward by their stepfather seeking custody of the girls. However, the family court of Papua New Guinea, after due process, struck out the case. Since early 2025, the children have remained under the protective custody of the Papua New Guinea Immigration and Citizenship Authority, while their long-term care arrangements are being processed. Mr. Speaker, during the course of this matter, certain legal and administrative technicalities were identified that require further coordination between the Papua New Guinea legal authorities and their Solomon Islands counterparts. Our High Commission in Papua New Guinea, mostly Papua New Guinea, has maintained communication with PNG's Chief Migration Officer, who has confirmed that the girls are in good health and are being well looked after under the care of ICSA. Importantly, following consideration of the children's welfare, a decision has been reached to release the girls into the care of their next of kin, the sister of their late mother. This arrangement will enable the children to return to school and resume a semblance of normalcy in their lives. The arrangement also provides their biological father, Dr. Jack Siwai, now possible access to them through their maternal aunt's family. So the Papua New Guinea Minister for Immigration is aware of this case and shares our concern for the well-being of the children. Our High Commission continues to liaise closely with PNG authorities to ensure that the best interests of the girls remain paramount in all decisions. Mr. Speaker, this government remains committed to ensuring that the rights and welfare of the children, especially those in cross-border or vulnerable circumstances, are safeguarded and respected. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. On behalf of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
So this matter has dragged on for too long. These are two little girls, and their best situation is with their natural parents right now. And we understand the dual citizenship if Constitution law PNG hemi grant him law keta. But even that has to be secondary when considering the best interest of the kids. They have a surviving father, and the best place is with their biological father who loves them dearly. I get the sense, Mr. Speaker, that we're not doing enough, the government's not doing enough. We are acquiescing to the Chief Migration Officer or the PNG government. We're deferring to them on this matter when the government really should be a little bit more assertive. So I want to know whether the Prime Minister has picked up the phone to speak to the PNG Prime Minister. You're both fathers, we're all fathers, we know the kind of situation of Piknini Elohem we can relate to. Speak to him as a father. We can overcome all these bureaucratic obstacles and reunite the father with their daughters. So Milek whether Prime Minister has spoken to the PNG counterpart. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, this matter has taken quite a while, as I've said, due to certain legal and administrative technicalities. While we appreciate and understand the stress and difficulties that the biological father has undergone here, there are also processes on the other side in terms of Papua New Guinea laws that we also need to respect and appreciate. As to the question whether I've spoken to the Papua New Guinea Prime Minister, yes, I think last year the leader of the independent group asked me to raise this at the forum in Tonga. I did raise that on the margins of the forum. And then recently, we are in touch through WhatsApp. I've also communicated to him. And now that the matter is before the migration office, if the arrangements can be facilitated as soon as possible, in the best interest of the children. So I'm fully cognizant of this matter, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, sir. So in your WhatsApp and discussions with the Prime Minister, his attitude is for releasing more Piknini for come, Lord Daddy Bloketa, Lord here, Lord Honero. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank the Leader of Opposition for that supplementary question. So what will happen, he will liaise with his Migration Minister, who is in charge of the case. The Migration Minister, as I've said, is aware of this case, and then he will advise or report back to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. Honourable MP for West Arare.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you, Prime Minister, for that answer. Me ko point reiterated by the Leader of the Opposition, biological father, Lohia. Me look him, me take too long, and right law 30 block at I think him no recognized as him should be primary. I think that is something that Prime Minister me asked that you take him up, because put yourselves, if we put ourselves in the father's shoe, by you para film, okay picking in lo him and okay stop lo control him, but me think he's right. As the that block picking in him should recognize above okay others that okay giving right for look after and okay him. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member for West Arare. Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me thank the Honourable Member for West Arare and the Chairman of the Bills and Legislation Committee for that supplementary question. Yes, I've taken note of the submission that he has made, being the biological father on this side, and we all know the efforts that he has made constantly, and we appreciate those efforts as a father, with the support of our High Commission and the government in Solomon Islands. But I think where we are now is progress. The fact that the children are now with ICSA. Before that, last year, it was very difficult for the father to even to get in touch with them. So where we are now is, as I've said, there is possibility for the father to have access to them through their maternal aunt's family. And once they are released to the care of their maternal aunt, then we'll take it from there as to the next process. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, just perhaps the Attorney General for clarifying the law, normal law migration, international. Surely we are parties to international migration conventions or treaties, and whether rights block at Pikninia, best interest blocketa and remaining biological parent blocketa should take precedence over dual citizenship and other relationships or interests that are competing. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honourable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Leader of the Official Opposition, for that question. Maybe from the outset, just maybe need for stating clear that when dealing with such sensitive matters, what we do, you must make sure too, you may not impact on the welfare of the children. Because in these circumstances, what if anyone ran go court, the first instance they will be looking at is what na right no pikinini, as opposed to na right no mommy or no daddy. Pikinini na come first. So that's why we must take every step easy with them. Someone can run to court and say that what we are doing is not in the best interest of the court, of the children. So then by courts we'll have to make a determination on that, and it could be adverse on us. So as Honourable Prime Minister has said, every step which have been taken with a sensitive step, so as not to jeopardizing any actions or something, because someone on the other side, maybe family member, might go to court and say to the courts, and we don't have control over that, would say that, oh, what we are doing maybe, or is in the interest of Pikininia. And interest of Pikininia also, for example, is to go to school there and higher education.
So that's on the outset. In terms of immigration laws, as long as travel documents, Hempstead, the kids can travel anytime. It's when the kids are in the care of the guardian or so now I think courts have given guardianship over the maternal aunt. So when some discussions are going on, once the maternal aunt him agree or the family agree, then it might entail going back to court to grant them passage for or to counsel because what under 18 yet they can't think for themselves. So that's one of the sensitive areas of this one that when we tread carefully in addressing this matter. Because as we know, sometimes courts always by look what now welfare block picking in no more, and it might even impede on the father or the mother. And family law is quite a very, a sensitive matter, and sometimes by decision courts come up with him might be, by father or mother or maternal aunt might not like him, but the courts have this objective that is what now best interest of Pikinini at that time or at that material instance.
Thank you, Honourable Attorney General. Honourable MP for East Harare.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And perhaps just to help out a little bit, Leonoma, in terms of international law aspects that might be of relevance here. I mean, migration is there, but it's a different issue. But there's conventions already in terms of the Hague Convention on the civil aspects of child abduction. And that is perhaps a way, if the government starts to think that this is already starting to become an issue of starting to go cross into things of that nature. There's also the human trafficking. These are really big issues. So if the government really starts to feel that a citizen of Solomon Islands is starting to be held against their will and then rightly belong to a parent, then those are available as well for the government to really explore if we want to take this really seriously. But there are already instruments in place that we can definitely engage in this particular instance. I think the issue, Mr. Speaker, sir, is just how we feel we can address this, or how we see this. Do we see this as a very serious matter? Some of us do see it as a very serious matter. So I think those instruments and those tools are already in place. You may know, me take a right choice here. And the policy that the government needs to take for protecting its citizens, as well as the children in particular. So there's a few of these tools available in terms of what we can do on this. But again, it's a state issue. We have to, of course, I don't think we've ratified some of these. But just like the bunker yesterday, we ratified after the fact. But maybe we can also do this as well. I mean, there's options for us. But it just comes down to how we really see this issue. If we take it really seriously, there are definitely avenues we can take. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Honourable MP for East Harare. Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank my good brother from East Harare, the leader of the independent group, for those comments, those observations, and those advice in terms of the legalities. The AG can respond to those. But I think from here going forward, as I've said, we have reached a situation where much better than a couple of years ago. I mean, the custody of the children, the court has ruled that it will be handed over to their maternal aunt. As I've said, I'm waiting for Prime Minister Marape's response after he talked with his migration officer, or migration ministry. Then we'll take it from there in terms of a diplomatic solution, for example. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. Honourable MP for West Harare.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me take this opportunity on behalf of Dr. Siwai now for thanking Prime Minister and officials Blahem, and Minister of Foreign Affairs and officials for the support so far, and encouraging responsible Prime Minister that much better now. Conscious of the legal process and procedures, Prime Minister, Melanesia Papua New Guinea, Solomon Island. So on that platform, talk with the Minister and those there to really support the arrangements for the biological father for him Sabe. If him allowed to travel, make him looking beginning, and whatever arrangement under the custodianship, local beginning for school and local rights blocketa, that by him fall in. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable MP for West Area. Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me thank the MP for West Harare, Chairman of the Bills and Legislation Committee for that additional question or observation in terms of this process. It's also important to note that Dr. Jack Siwaina is also currently communicating with the migration officer in Papua New Guinea, so that communication is also ongoing. And let's hope that we do not make approaches that could affect the positive communication that is going on between Dr. Jack Siwaina as the father, biological father, and that office in Papua New Guinea. And the High Commission and the government will continue to facilitate this process in the interest of the children, and of course take into account the interest of the biological father. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable MP for East Malaita.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Supplementary question. Whether me hear him right or wrong, or but me just like to ask him. I think Prime Minister said there's a court decision that what go back to the maternal parents. So I mean, if we want to get them back, then biological father have to make a more case, yeah? Because the ruling have go maternal parents. So it will be another process more, Mr. Speaker. So I think with discussions that we share here, I think it's good for leader opposition call upon Prime Minister to dialogue with PM now, law PNG, so that we do it in our way of cultural ways of imitra for solving this whole issue. Because if we continue to look at the trends, how them go, I see that there will be more acacia if the father wants to get possessions of the children. I mean, I'm not how me look ram, but Prime Minister can say something on this. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable MP for East Malaita. Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the MP for East Malaita for those observations and comments in terms of the possible legal processes that could come in. I'll ask the Attorney General to respond as far as the possible legal processes could concern.
Thank you, Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, MP for East Malaita, for that question. In regards to Sakot case, the children were in the care of the stepfather. We have not made an application to court. So court him refuse him application to him and him give him custody block beginning go lot maternal auntie blame sister blow mommy. So him not him stop with him this time whilst you may process him everything. Yes, there is also the avenue that biological father can go to PNG court and make an application there for right to him. However, we always advocate for a option which is not, we try to put them legal option as the last. So now our diplomatic channels still open, discussions still go. So once you may go to court, you may always get one winner, one lose. And sometimes relationships might jeopardize relationships. And also too, you may take into account that the trauma caused to the Pikinini for have to go through a lot kind of thing. So that's why in doing so we balance what considerations here to ensure the best possible outcome. And take time, as I understand. Yes, we acknowledge that, but I think we solution in go will be much better outcome than having an adversarial decision made. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Attorney General. Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I do wish to thank the Honourable Attorney General and Honourable Prime Minister for responses to follow. This matter has gone on way too long. Oget Pignini have been in this whatever custody situation here for more than Oget Logaza, you know. It's just too long. And trauma blocket must be away. I don't see how rights blow, maternal auntie blocket or stepfather blocket or anyone else in PNG would be higher than rights blow daddy blocket here. And approach blow me that or something is sensitive here, him meeting him no most slow the drug him me to here. I would urge the Prime Minister to either appoint an envoy specifically to deal with this matter, go there and story, cry, beg him, we just want our kids back. Or task him, the Foreign Minister, for go specifically on the issue no more. I don't see how this is so difficult, how it's so sensitive. Him no sensitive no more. We have direct talks. I think we can overcome these hurdles and bring these kids to be reunited with their father. Human side lo him must feel him here. Government if him no you know using government for protecting rights plus citizens plus Solomon Islands. Was a what no more for him here. I'm also Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker. So I do thank the Prime Minister and the Attorney General.
Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition. Let's move on next to our next item of business.
Motion to thank His Excellency the Governor General for his address, delivering his address to Parliament.
Thank you, honourable members. Debate on the motion moved by the Prime Minister will continue today. Any member who wishes to contribute to the motion, let me give the floor to the MP for his choice. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, giving me the floor of Parliament to contribute to the thank you motion moved by the Prime Minister that we, the National Parliament of Solomon Islands here assembled, beg leave to offer thanks to the speech which has been addressed by you to Parliament. Now, so I will confine my speech, said in reply to the matters pertaining to the last portfolio I held, the Ministry of Finance, and in doing so, Mr. Speaker, would like to thank His Excellency for delivering the speech, sir. So His Excellency is effectively the head of the executive government, so and therefore one can understand the very, very heavy government-centric tone of the address. So allowed under the outstanding orders the speech from the throne serve two purposes. First, it signals that the government is opening a new legislative session, and the Governor General, who is effectively head of the executive, took the occasion to summarize what the government expects to achieve during the session. So, as alluded to by His Excellency, the Ministry of Finance, together with the Central Bank of Solomon Islands, is keeping close watch on the effects of President Donald Trump's war with the rest of the world as a strategy to address their concern about trade gaps due to what they term absence of reciprocity in America's relationship with other nations on trade, and very interestingly, sir, also on taxation, Mr. Speaker. They have a very interesting taxation, regime, Mr. Speaker, with nearly 12,000 taxing authorities, which makes coordination and adoption of a single broad-based consumption tax very, very complicated, Mr. Speaker. So we can understand them, sir. As a matter of fact, impossible. They do not have a broad-based consumption tax, Mr. Speaker, which is rare for a very developed country, Mr. Speaker. And all developed countries adopt some form of broad-based consumption tax. But apart from taxation issues, sir, the tariff war is very interesting, a very interesting move, and goes against everything that the mainstream School of Economics teaches about the importance of trade in the survival of any nation, Mr. Speaker. Despite what the world may say and think, Mr. Speaker, this is a sovereign decision by the United States of America, a sovereign government, to protect their national interest, Mr. Speaker. So let us understand this in that context, Mr. Speaker. We will also eagerly, of course, await the outcome of a 90 days stop work order, pending a 90-day review on nearly all programs of the United States Agency for International Development, or USAID. And for Solomon Islands, Mr. Speaker, this affects the much talked about scale project in Malaita and Western provinces. And of course, our bid for compact grant, which is a 5-year grant, having passed the MCC eligibility criteria. So it will also affect the effective rollout of the threshold program if we ever get there, Mr. Speaker. So any decision to resume will definitely be subject to new conditionalities and alignment of the programs with U.S. foreign policy, which will most certainly, Mr. Speaker, further complicate these issues. So I guess, Mr. Speaker, our approach will be to keep our hopes alive, sir, but be prepared to accept any adverse outcomes, Mr. Speaker. There's nothing, Mr. Speaker, we can do about that, Mr. Speaker. As a price taker, sir, we are very vulnerable. We are vulnerable to any drastic changes to our development partners' trade and development assistance policies, or major disturbances in the global market that affects oil prices and other essential commodities. There is no point, Mr. Speaker, crying over spilled milk on this matter. So I think it is probably a blessing in disguise, sir, that these things are happening now, so that we must wake up from our sleep as sovereign nation, Mr. Speaker. While we cannot do anything to influence the way our development partners conduct their aid program in our country, Mr. Speaker, we can avoid surprises and threats of victimization by strategically aligning our foreign policy, Mr. Speaker. And we have done that, Mr. Speaker. We have done that in line with our foreign policy of friend to all and enemy to none. Of course, much to the disappointment of some countries, Mr. Speaker. I think the days of complacency and business as usual in the way we conduct our foreign relations are over, Mr. Speaker. And we are living at a time, Mr. Speaker, when we must be smart, Mr. Speaker. We cannot afford to be careless about matters of development and national security, Mr. Speaker. As a least developing country that is struggling to place the country on a path of sustainable growth, Mr. Speaker, Solomon Islands value all our development partners, and we, Mr. Speaker, endeavor in the conduct of our foreign relations to abide by the Vienna Conventions on Diplomatic Relations 1961, Mr. Speaker. And this convention, Mr. Speaker, outlines the rules governing diplomatic missions and their personnel, aiming to facilitate friendly relations, and outline, among other rules, the duty to respect the laws, respect the way we do things in this country, and customs of the host country, Mr. Speaker. By the same token, sir, we expect our friends to respect us. Therefore, with all due respect, Mr. Speaker, we do not and cannot entertain requests, Mr. Speaker, to isolate any of our development partners in this country, Mr. Speaker. This country must not take our diplomatic relations with China that is premised on the one-sided principle lightly, Mr. Speaker. We were literally wandering in the wilderness as a least developing country for 40 years, Mr. Speaker, and taken advantage of in the ongoing geopolitical power struggle, with the prospect of pulling out of our pathetic development status looking very remote until, of course, the arrival of PRC, Mr. Speaker. And so no right-thinking Solomon Islander will deny that. And the whole development thinking and the dynamics of how our development partners relate to us, Mr. Speaker, has changed dramatically, Mr. Speaker, with some openly expressing their dislikes by attempting to tie their assistance to the country reviewing its stand on the One China principle, Mr. Speaker. The challenge, I guess, that the government is facing right now is to hold that position amidst a political grouping mix that will constantly place that foreign policy position under threat, Mr. Speaker. I'll leave that matter there. The other issue, the other key policy, Mr. Speaker, that His Excellency made reference to, and I'll dwell on this, and I'll stop at about 12 o'clock. It made reference to in his speech, Mr. Speaker, is the move taken by the Ministry of Finance, and I encourage the new Minister of Finance to continue with that, Mr. Speaker, is to redirect the emphasis of the national budget and the fiscal policy in general to be responsive to the development needs of the country, Mr. Speaker. I understand, sir, that the permanent secretaries have been fully informed, and caucus also has been briefed, and that matter will be springboard to cabinet. But in short, Mr. Speaker, the emphasis of the redirection, and I think this is very important, Mr. Speaker, at this point in time, is for the country to seriously invest in growth, Mr. Speaker, to invest in growth. Something that we talked about for years, but, sir, we never got around to actually put strategic actions behind it, Mr. Speaker. The comprehensive policy redirection, Mr. Speaker, addresses both the expenditure and the revenue side of the fiscal policy, and the associated reforms in very, very serious way, Mr. Speaker. Budgeting for growth, that's what we've been talking about, and moving away from business as usual, Mr. Speaker, in the way the government relates to its mandate, sir, has been a recurring theme in the policy statements and national budgets produced by successive governments over the 47 years, Mr. Speaker, going now, come July, of our existence as a nation. And this commitment, Mr. Speaker, and policy intention has largely remained a lip service, Mr. Speaker, without being translated to actionable strategies, Mr. Speaker. In the meantime, sir, the nation's meager budgetary resources have not been properly directed, Mr. Speaker, to where they are most needed, sir, to address effective and efficient delivery of essential services and also act as a catalyst of growth, Mr. Speaker. And a serious reform, Mr. Speaker, leading to redirection of the budgetary resources is badly needed now, Mr. Speaker. And this obviously, sir, requires the exercise of political will to realize, Mr. Speaker. We must be one mind on this one now, so if you want to go anywhere, sir. And this is a very important point, Mr. Speaker, because the redirection must involve removing or redirecting programs and expenditures that are leaning more towards political expediency and lacking economic rationality, Mr. Speaker. Examples for this one, Mr. Speaker, is the National Transport Initiative, which fund heavy road-making machines and ships for constituencies, Mr. Speaker. That program, sir, is grossly unsustainable, Mr. Speaker, grossly unsustainable. And as we are talking now, Mr. Speaker, many of these machines are lying idle in the yards of many members of Parliament, Mr. Speaker, lying idle, no use now. Let's sit down now, Mr. Speaker. Either because the members of Parliament has lost his seat, Mr. Speaker, I'm losing seat blame, so what the machine knows I walk on now, or simply because the member cannot afford the running cost of the program through the CDF, Mr. Speaker. So it's grossly unsustainable, and continue to depend on the Ministry of MID now for funding fuel and things like that. For that one is grossly unsustainable. Sir, if this program must continue, sir, the expenditure must be directed to acquiring ships for salmon as an important strategy to roll out the revitalization of salmon's trading function. I leave that matter there, Mr. Speaker. But the redirection, sir, the policy appreciates, Mr. Speaker, that fiscal policy is a powerful, very powerful tool in the hands of the government to influence the behavior of important players in the economy. And that the Solomon Islands government, Mr. Speaker, is the single largest spender in the economy, and therefore further argues, Mr. Speaker, that a strategy redirecting the emphasis and focus of the fiscal policy and government spending to our areas of strength will open up huge unrealized opportunities that have been suppressed over the years, Mr. Speaker. The reference to our areas of strength, Mr. Speaker, include but not limited to, and I will list these things. This is the strength that, let me just sit down there, Mr. Speaker. One is our vast stretches of arable agricultural lands that are capable of supporting a steady supply of cash crops, either for downstream processing or export as raw materials in all provinces, but to date remain idle, Mr. Speaker. Secondly, the availability of stretches of customary lands that, apart from the need to comply with environmental standards, landowners can develop without the need to get the legal land titles and comply with the stressful requirements of the Lands and Titles Act. We can also talk about the stretches of beautiful beaches, Mr. Speaker, and numerous historical sites, and the natural beauties unparalleled by other Pacific Island countries that can support a thriving tourism industry, but then sit down there no more, Mr. Speaker. Stretches of lagoons we can talk about, and shallow waters in various locations around the country that have been surveyed to be suitable for seaweed farming because they have sufficient sunlight, appropriate temperature and salinity, access to nutrients, well protected from tidal waves and strong winds that come from the open sea or monsoon weather conditions, basically remaining idle, Mr. Speaker. More than 85% of the country population with basic primary education that are already engaged in some form of activities in their customary land in all the 9 provinces of the country that have unfortunately been systematically tuned to be complacent and to depend on the services funded by the less than 20% of the population, including our investors in the formal sector. These are our areas of strength, Mr. Speaker, where we should focus in now, the fiscal policy block up. And then following from the point that we raised earlier, the availability of free labor, Mr. Speaker, in the informal sector where the strength of the country lies, that can be motivated under the profit motive of development to collaborate with our local investors to participate in the development of our areas of strength. And we can also talk about and this is a very one for a flagship policy, Mr. Speaker, the re-establishment of the Development Bank of Solomon Islands. Purposely as a strength to avail credit finance to willing and capable Solomon Islanders at affordable rates, and less stringent processes to bridge the confidence gap, Mr. Speaker, that exists between the rich, resource-rich, informal rural area, where the strength of the country lies, and the willing investors in the formal sector who possess the technical know-how and entrepreneurial skills, Mr. Speaker. And then lastly but not the least, Mr. Speaker, we can go on and list the strength of this country, where the strength lies, where we should really focus attention. The country has entered into a number of trading agreements, Mr. Speaker, trade agreements. Basic Plus, Melanesian Spearhead Group Free Trade Agreement, the non-reciprocal trade agreement with the People's Republic of China, which effectively allows a long list of products to enter Chinese market duty-free, and of course the trade agreements with the European EU countries, Mr. Speaker. So these are areas of strength, and that's where focus really should start redirecting government's effort, resources, and fiscal policy directly to the areas of strength. And the policy redirection, Mr. Speaker, also fully appreciates the annual formulation of the financial policy objectives and strategies by all ministers of finance, Mr. Speaker, as an accompanying document to the annual budget, purposely to guide the government through the line ministries on the emphasis and focus of the budget, Mr. Speaker. And amongst the strategies highlighted every year, Mr. Speaker, increased investments in growth sectors, agriculture, fisheries, forestry, tourism, increased support to local farmers, small businesses and entrepreneurs. We establish appropriate institutions and administrative mechanisms to attract quality investment, support infrastructure development, expand external trade and investment, and undertake tax reforms and prudent financial management. Those things are listed in everything, the volume 1 of the document that comes to Parliament every year, Mr. Speaker. And it would appear, sir, that apart from the institutional and governance reforms that have been undertaken and ongoing for a number of years, the intention of the government to direct the emphasis and focus of the annual budget to support economic growth were hardly realized, Mr. Speaker. Hardly realized. No. And this is not surprising, Mr. Speaker, because the intentions, sir, were not translated to actionable strategies to redirect government expenditures as intended in the policy redirection, Mr. Speaker. So, sir, this policy that His Excellency make reference to, the three-pronged objective of this policy redirection, sir, is to move away from, and to help us to move away from just talking about it, trying for achieving the objectives, achieving the desired outcome as follows, Mr. Speaker, by one of them happen, and I think the process is going on, Mr. Speaker, I understand, to get the permanent secretaries and or the ministries here to conduct a joint ministerial review of the programs, projects, and services delivered by line ministries in line with the agenda of growth, delivery of essential services, and in the case of ministries whose functions are mainly regulatory, to establish whether they are doing more than is necessary to fulfill their role as catalyst of growth in the government setup. And Mr. Speaker, to further establish whether their roles could be better delivered under other more sustainable models, Mr. Speaker. And the second, to adopt a private sector-led approach to developing the productive and resource sectors as an alternative, a result-oriented, driven by profit motives and entrepreneurship to the current direct involvement of the government line ministries through a grant, Mr. Speaker. And thirdly, to empower the government through the availability of additional budgetary resources made possible by the redirection to effectively partner with our development partners to pay more attention to the delivery of health, education, security, and infrastructure development, which are considered, Mr. Speaker, to be the primary responsibility of the government to deliver through the annual appropriation, Mr. Speaker. So the redirection must require a serious review of the role of line clustered ministries under fundamental, social, productive, and resource sectors in driving growth, and of course the provisions of essential services that our people cannot live without, and to redirect budgetary resources to the strategic sectors. And this general thinking, Mr. Speaker, is further elaborated and strategized as follows under the current sectoral grouping: fundamental, productive, resource, and social sectors, Mr. Speaker. Government ministries and departments as delivery channels of government programs can be further grouped under the following broad categories in terms of the services they are mandated to deliver, Mr. Speaker. And if we just zero them down, believe me, go down them, this is all what the government is delivering, Mr. Speaker. And so that will help us to strategize the way we allocate resources so that we achieve one. The first one is the ministries that by the very nature of the services they deliver, Mr. Speaker, considered to be essential ministries, sir. And the country cannot go without the services they deliver. And in addition to public servants delivering the essential services, Mr. Speaker, they also perform regulatory and statutory functions to ensure the proper delivery of that service by other service providers, Mr. Speaker. And coming under this category are health and education, where not only the government deliver education services, but there are also other authorities that will deliver education and also health services, Mr. Speaker. Secondly, the ministries and government departments within sectoral ministries that deliver public goods and services that are considered sovereign responsibility in nature, Mr. Speaker, and therefore only the government is mandated to deliver, Mr. Speaker. And coming under this category, Mr. Speaker, is police and national security, and also, Mr. Speaker, departments performing regulatory and statutory functions of essential services that we refer to in the next one of the and then these are about ministries that are also grouped under the sectoral groupings that predominantly perform essential regulatory and statutory functions by appropriately qualified public servants that are engaged by these departments to regulate the functions, either in the form of line post remuneration or projects and programs attached to these functions. And also the other group, Mr. Speaker, is ministries coming under the productive and resources sectors that, in addition to their regulatory roles, also implement government-funded programs directly with or through the private sector. So suppose you zero down Mr. Speaker, that's all. This is not government delivering through the annual budget, Mr. Speaker. And so two groupings no more, yeah? The groupings and functions that him to talk about him highlighting two broad categories of activities which the annual appropriation make him every year, and not to all areas anymore. Regulatory and statutory functions in line ministries and direct delivery of public goods and services by line ministries, Mr. Speaker. So what we're trying to get the permanent secretaries to do, Mr. Speaker, and I hope they continue with this, is to encourage them to think a little bit more strategically. Loia said, even of Western government resources, and we achieve. So if this exercise is done properly, Mr. Speaker, and seriously, we may establish the need to shed off some ministries, Mr. Speaker. We need to do that. And amalgamating some of the functions with other ministries to effectively deliver their mandate, Mr. Speaker. So the redirection must also include the critical analysis of the role and effectiveness of the state-owned enterprises in delivering core functions for Ogata and services as extensions of line ministries and enablers of development, and they're critical to the achievement of the objective of this exercise, Mr. Speaker, is the role that the Development Bank of Solomon Islands play, Mr. Speaker, and to bridge the confidence gap between the gap that exists between the willing participants in the resource-rich area, and it's our areas of strength, and our investors in the strategic sectors, Mr. Speaker. So the old concept, and I'm winding down, Mr. Speaker, the old concept of financing the productive and resource sectors by way of grants, and other scheme under the national budget must be reviewed, Mr. Speaker. It must be reviewed with the view to adopting a model that will encourage the strength of, encourage the spirit of entrepreneurship, instilling a greater sense of responsibility, a proper and responsible accountability of financial resources, and a desire to be successful by the entrepreneurs, Mr. Speaker. And that's a critical strategy, sir. The private entrepreneurs, Mr. Speaker, who have proven themselves successful in the strategic sectors, Mr. Speaker, must be encouraged. Must be encouraged through appropriate incentives and low-cost credit facilities to participate with the government under the PPP arrangement to drive the development of the productive and the resource sectors using the resource of a recapitalized DBSI, Mr. Speaker, and the intention is that by putting more resources inside Longo, the Development Bank of Solomon Islands, Mr. Speaker. So by shifting the financing of the productive and resource sectors from direct budgetary support by way of grants and subsidies to low-cost credit facilities deliberately designed for this strategy, Mr. Speaker, it is hoped that more budgetary resources will be channeled to health, to education, to security, and infrastructure development, which are considered to be the most essential services that the government is primarily responsible to deliver, Mr. Speaker. So the redirection also looks at the revenue side of the equation. A number of major reforms of our tax system is underway, and it is important that the government realize them this year, Mr. Speaker. This includes the adoption of a broad-based consumption tax modeled on VAT, and the removal of a number of tax bases that are imposing additional levies on the same revenue base. And based on the current size of the economy, Mr. Speaker, we can only go to an extent to impose any more levies, Mr. Speaker, without constraining the growth of the productive sector. So let's not go down that path, Mr. Speaker. So it is important, therefore, going forward, that the government must resort to developing and taxing new revenue bases, Mr. Speaker, and to strategically pursue creative financing. In this connection, the government must speed up the proposal to tax the production and sale of Lekona, Mr. Speaker. This is a multi-million-dollar industry, which is estimated to have a potential of yielding additional revenue to the tune of millions of dollars, Mr. Speaker. And the dual objective of yielding additional revenue for the government and enabling the workability of the policy to discourage the consumption of tobacco product by making the alternative product equally expensive is a desirable policy, Mr. Speaker. On creative financing, sir, the work on citizenship by investment policy developed by the Ministry of Home Affairs and the shipping registry by the Ministry of Infrastructure Development must be finalized this year, Mr. Speaker. We encourage him to, while the minister is still there and the ministry, to please pursue that policy. So our and then I'll end up with comments on our resources. So our resources, Mr. Speaker, and the other endowments touched on earlier are our only realistic areas of strength and bastion of sustainable development. And so we must not be careless about the way we develop them, Mr. Speaker. The essential reforms in these sectors that are concerned with improving the country's stake in the development of our resources must be given the highest priority by government through the ministers responsible, Mr. Speaker. So the development strategy must include an aggressive value-adding program, Mr. Speaker, which must be emphasized as a crucial component of the strategy to those who will be participating in this program. Since this is a government-driven redirection, it is incumbent upon the government, Mr. Speaker, to demonstrate its commitment to see it successful, Mr. Speaker. We cannot emphasize this point enough, sir. We have messed up the forestry sector, and we cannot afford to be careless about how our mineral, energy, fisheries, and possible potential in the petroleum sector, Mr. Speaker. We cannot be careless about those areas. Those are the only areas of strength in the government of this country, Mr. Speaker. Besides our potentials in the tourism sector, which is grossly underdeveloped, Mr. Speaker, the country is only attractive to foreign investors because of our resource endowment. Or not because they love this country, Mr. Speaker. Or they love trees, or minerals. That's what they love. They don't love this country, Mr. Speaker. You remove that attraction, Mr. Speaker, from the equation, and Solomon Islands will not be attractive for high-class investors, Mr. Speaker, who invest in other countries for strategic reasons to make money, Mr. Speaker. Come on up. So let's not be careless. I guess that's the message that we want to put in Kamlaya. Let's not be careless about all the resources here. The country just does not have the level of technically qualified pool of human resources to support high-tech investments. No more now. It takes years, Mr. Speaker, for any country to train its human resources. Singapore, for example, they can go to cost of 30 years, Mr. Speaker, and that's the only thing they have, sir, human resource. Oh no, government, this is just pockets of fishing villages before, more than 40 years ago. And Lee Kuan Yew transformed it within just a period of less than 40 years. Now, this country, I tell you, stands on top. And what they use in the areas of strength, and no human resources. We cannot boast that in this country, Mr. Speaker. Our areas of strength lies in our resources. And so let's not be careless about that. And I'm making this point, Mr. Speaker, to emphasize the point that the years of business as usual in the way we manage our meager budgetary resources and fiscal policy in general to encourage economic growth are over, Mr. Speaker. Ministers in charge of the productive and resource sector ministries got a huge responsibility to ensure that the country maximizes the economic benefits arising from these resources, Mr. Speaker. The successful implementation of the other policy priorities that His Excellency announced in the medium to long term, Mr. Speaker, depend on the country improving its capacity to generate more revenue and improve its creditworthiness through the achievement of a steady growth path that is sustainable, Mr. Speaker. A country that does not borrow, a country that then should not exist, Mr. Speaker. So we must make the country able to borrow. And the only thing to do that is to improve our economic growth, Mr. Speaker. Once we do that, you can borrow anything no more, Mr. Speaker. You can borrow. And the country that borrows, we say, is a country that is growing, Mr. Speaker. So I'll end my statement there, Mr. Speaker. The government, in the word of the Prime Minister, has young, vibrant and energetic leaders to drive these reforms now, Mr. Speaker, and I congratulate all of you for sitting down there. And they will need, of course, they will need mentorship and guidance to effectively do their work. Mr. Speaker, that responsibility lies on the shoulders of a few senior members of the government who themselves must be reform-minded, Mr. Speaker. Otherwise, it will continue to be business as usual, Mr. Speaker. Sir, I wish the government well in leading our country. I thought I'd just respond to the issues that His Excellency raising, because the new Minister of Finance has just take office, and probably it will take time for him for really grasping what the ministers has been doing. So may elaborate on what His Excellency has expressed in time of speech, Mr. Speaker. With that, Mr. Speaker, I support the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member for East Churchill. Floor is still open for any member who wishes to contribute to the motion. Let me give the floor to the Minister for Agriculture and MP for East Makira. Have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for allowing me to contribute to the motion to thank His Excellency, the Governor-General, for delivering the speech from the throne. However, before delivering my reply, I also extend my congratulations to our new Deputy Speaker and the MP for East Honiara constituency. Speaker, sir, as one of the young ministers in the current Government for National Unity and Transformation, and a first-time member of Parliament representing my people of East Makira constituency, entrusted with huge responsibility to serving our nation as the Minister for Agriculture and Livestock, I wish to share progressive updates that my ministry has made since I became the Minister. More so, given our very recent political situation last week, it is only proper that I rise to thank His Excellency, the Governor-General, for delivering the speech from the throne to provide the progressive updates. I sincerely thank the Honourable Prime Minister and fellow Cabinet Ministers, including the members of Parliament within GNAT government, for allowing me to serve in my current role as the Minister. I believe I have done my best as the Minister since GNAT government came into power a year ago. Speaker, sir, issues facing the agricultural sector are long-time issues, and I was only given less than a year to deliver whatever progress we have made. Regardless of the ensuing political and that mile lay ahead of us, I wish to thank our people of Solomon Islands for continuously upholding us in your prayers as national leaders, and that we will continue to serve you in our roles as members of Parliament. Sir, agriculture in this country has long been surrounded with many fundamental structural and functional issues. And to address these issues will take a good number of years before we can realize the positive impacts of the interventions that we are now slowly but steadily implementing under our development budget and with our donor partners. On this note, I sincerely thank our hardworking rural farmers, commodity traders, exporters, value-adding entrepreneurs and service providers whom have continued to faithfully serve this country and contribute to our economy. The Government for National Unity and Transformation, GNAT for short, has 8 policy priorities that it has laid out since it came into power last year. Under these 8 policies, the Ministry has made some progress, such as, and I wish to mention them: 1, the establishment of the Cocoa and Coconut Revolving Fund. Speaker, sir, last year the Ministry received about 4.9 million under its development budget to assist our buyers, traders and exporters. The Ministry recognizes that one of the many challenges facing our rural farmers is limited access to markets and finance. It is therefore prioritized the allocation of seed funding through soft loans to active buyers and exporters of both cocoa and copra. This approach was based on the fact that we still have sufficient standing trees for both cocoa and coconut.
The most recent agriculture survey conducted in 2017 showed that we currently have 10 million cocoa standing trees and 9.9 million coconut standing trees. The revolving fund received 633 applications in total, and so far we have allocated funding support to the first batch of 57 recipients. Total allocated to the 57 recipients was 2.26 million, which according to our calculations will result in an accumulative revenue of 15 million SBD over the next 6 months, given that these recipients have to continue engaged in the trading business since they have to repay the funds as a soft loan. We are also aware that there are those that think we should first focus on production before thinking about the market. However, there is no harm focusing on market while improving our local production. This is because we do not want to repeat the same mistake of the past where we focus too much on production and neglect the financial aspects of it. As a result, when production increases, but there was lack of sufficient market, farmers were discouraged and shifted away from farming and engaged in other things. Thus, we first want to address the whole value chain by creating and strengthening our markets so that farmers are certain that their products will be sold before they go into large-scale farming. Speaker, sir, payments were made to the first 57 recipients last week, and we hope to disperse the second batch at the end of this month. This year, we have another 8.6 million for revolving fund and shipping subsidy. Ministry will soon call a new expression of interest on this. Therefore, those of you farmers or traders who have missed out in the current one should prepare well. Number 2, provision of regular and reliable shipping service. Speaker said the ministry, in collaboration with one of our indigenous ship operators, has trialed a ship to ship to the cocoa and copra high-producing areas of Makiaulau province. It was very effective and economical with the shipment of local products to Honiara. The ministry is planning to make similar arrangements for Malaita Outer Islands, Shortland and Mono, Choiseul, parts of Western Province, parts of Godol Canal, Isabel, in the coming months, given that the fruiting season for cocoa is now picking up and expected to peak from May until August this year. The ministry is expected to provide regular shipping to some of our high purchasing areas starting this month. 3, with the cassava export. Speaker, sir, due to the recent downpour and insistence of the Sape Farm management for loans of the cassava processing facility before export is done, the first 2 containers of freshly frozen cassava will now take place in June this year. The ministry has invested around 2.7 million in the modern state-of-art cassava processing facility with a bigger contribution from the Sape Farm and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Apart from processing of the fresh cassava tubers, the ministry can also produce cassava flours and livestock feed for piggery and poultry. The ministry is happy to say that the investment is a worthy one and will save this country for a very long time, given that there is already demand from the buyer in the increase the number of containers from 2 to at least 4 containers every month in Melbourne, Australia. 4, with the treatment facility for pineapple export. Speaker, sir, ministry recently retrieved its fumigation chamber from the Solomon Island ports and closely collaborating with SPC and EU office in Suva, Fiji for construction of the holding facility for the fumigation chamber. We expect the construction work to commence in the 3rd quarter of this year with the funding from EU and SPC. Once completed, it will enable us to export fresh pineapples
abroad with strong interest from Australia. Recently, a team from South Korea visited Malaita in March this year along with our officers to explore the potential of the pineapple production in Malaita. Fifth is the vapor heat treatment plant. Speaker said the ministry has engaged a local contractor to construct its pre-trial treatment facility, and I'm happy to say that the construction is ongoing for the test facility by our local constructors. This facility purposely to breed different economical species for fruit flies that cause damage to our local fruits. Our targeted fruits for export, such as papaya, mango, and melon, will then be subjected to fruit flies attacks before being treated at various heat levels within the facility to determine the best heat treatment level without damaging the flesh of the fruits. Speaker said, to avoid confusion to the general public, let me state here that there are two different facilities at our Henderson Biosecurity site. One is the vapor heat treatment plant, while the other is the fruit fly breeding and heat trial facility. So there are two. For the VHT facility, it has been completed 1 year ago, and we were supposed to receive engineers from Japan to install the VHT plant. However, the engineers have recommended some changes to the power socket. Therefore, Ministry is about to engage a local A-grade electrician to install a new three-phase electrical socket to the facility to allow for the plant to be connected to the power and have it operated. Once the needed adjustment is completed, Japanese engineers should be in the country to fix it. Sixth, with the taro export. Speaker said the ministry is also going to assist Goshen Enterprise from Malaita, one of our taro packaging entrepreneurs, working closely with the province to set up the facility for both domestic and international markets. The ministry is also finalizing the funding agreement for support. Seventh, with the staff training. Speaker said, I'm very pleased to further report that the ministry is taking concrete steps to address the long-standing capacity gaps that have hindered the progress within the ministry. Currently, 32 of our staff are undertaking full studies to enhance their qualifications in agriculture. These individuals are pursuing diploma and bachelor's degree at the Solomon Island National University, the University of the South Pacific. This investment in human capital is a critical step in strengthening the ministry's technical expertise and the long-term service delivery. Furthermore, I am proud to highlight that one of our staff members has recently graduated from the prestigious University of Tokyo with a Master of Science in Agricultural Resource Economics, a commendable achievement that brings a new knowledge and international exposure to our ministry. In addition, another staff member is nearing completion of a PhD in soil science at Marseille University in New Zealand. These academic accomplishments are not just personal milestones for individuals involved, they represent significant gains for the ministry and the broader agricultural sector in the Solomon Islands. They equip us with the technical depth and research capacity needed to better tackle the complex challenges we face in modern agriculture. We might be the only ministry upgrading the staff at a very big scale, and that shows how serious we are in addressing the long overdue issues affecting the sector. 8, with the development activities, Speaker said the ministry has 6 development programs for this financial year and focuses on strengthening our long-term food security to achieve food sovereignty. These activities are 1, food security and livestock industry, with the following 5 activities. 1 is the cattle breeding facility development at Gozororo in Isabel, which is worth 2.7 million. 2, the nuclear and multiplier pig breeding farms in Central Island, Choiseol, Temotu, Guadalcanal, Western Malaita provinces, which is worth 1.7 million. Poultry farm assistance to Isabel, Western, Honiara, Malaita, Makira, Guadalcanal, with $500,000. 4, the support the apiary breeding and queen bee rearing for Honera and Guadalcanal, which is worth 400,000. The livestock feed production and animal disease surveillance worth 700,000 SBD. 2, the coconut and cocoa development program. Mr. Speaker, sir, this program will see further support to the revolving fund with an additional injection of 8.6 million. Thus, I encourage those who applied but did not make it to ensure they make efforts to satisfy the 2 minimum criteria of having a valid professional business license and most recent sale receipts. Mr. Speaker, sir, on the same matter, I assure the public that my ministry will also put out another call for expression of interest to our stakeholders to submit their interest to be part of the revolving fund. Third, the pest and disease control. Speaker, sir, we continue to conduct intervention activities in selected sites against the coconut rhinoceros beetle, CRB, with the support from New Zealand government. The ministry is also monitoring and conducting active surveillance programs on other pests and diseases. Fourth, we have the commercial agriculture development. Mr. Speaker, sir, under this particular development program, we are preparing to initiate major development at Gozororo in Isabel for 250 hectares of land for cattle breeding, 100 hectares for rice trials, cocoa and coconut seed gardens, and new emerging crops. Sir, the same program also accommodates for funding support to our vegetables and root crop farmers. Fifth, the infrastructure and innovations. Because these programs are to build our staff residence in Kirkira and Noro, revival of Hakama in the Central Island Province, redevelopment of Newi Field Experiment Station in Temotu, development of Makiraulo Provincial land at Okia, pig multiplier farms in Malaita, Western and Isabel, development of the Tenaru Field Experiment Station, and others. Speaker, sir, for donor-funded projects, I am happy to announce that the World Bank funded Solomon Islands Agriculture and Rural Transformation project is making good progress with support to our agribusiness producer organizations in 3 provinces of Malaita, Makira, and Guadalcanal. We expect to have supported 66 agribusiness producer organizations by the 3rd quarter of this year. Mr. Speaker, sir, another of our donor-funded project worth 19 million USD is from the International Funds for Agriculture Development, IFAD for short, will operationalize in July this year. This is a 6-year project to be implemented in the 3 provinces of Western, Isabel, and Choiseul. This project was designed in January this year and focuses on agriculture investment for market and nutrition. Additionally, Speaker, sir, we also have FAO-funded sustainable transformation of domestic agri-food systems, STODAS, being implemented across our provinces by helping the ministry to collect field data for formulation of major projects. We are also thankful to the Japanese government through the UNICEF for the schools meals project that is now being implemented in Isabel and Western provinces. For better or for worse, I give my assurance that GNAT government will ensure agriculture shall rise to new heights, and it has started. Mr. Speaker, sir, with this, I once again thank His Excellency, the Governor-General, for the speech from the throne, and the Honourable Prime Minister for this opportunity to respond accordingly. I support the motion and I resume my seat.
Thank you, Honourable Aoke. Let me give the floor now to the Honourable Minister for Public Service and MP for North West Guadalcanal. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I stand to join others to contribute to the motion moved by the Honourable Prime Minister that an address be presented to His Excellency the Governor-General as follows. With the National Parliament of Solomon Islands here assembled, beg leave to offer thanks for the speech which has been addressed by His Excellency the Governor-General to Parliament on the 24th of April 2025. It is with great humility that I ask today to respond to His Excellency the Governor General's speech from the throne. On behalf of the people of Northwest Gurkha constituency and my family, I extend my heartfelt thank you to His Excellency to deliver such a thoughtful and visionary address. We are confident that under his leadership, our nation will continue to thrive and move forward. His Excellency's speech has set a clear path for us, outlining the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. As the Minister responsible for public service, I am particularly grateful for the attention His Excellency has given to the critical issue of public service reform. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Minister of Public Service is dedicated to fulfill its legal mandate and functions. It is also committed to implement the policy priorities set by the national government and improve the public service. As a result, the commitment to improve the Ministry of Public Service is going through reforms and reviews of laws and policies. This reform, designed to improve legislative framework governing the management of public service institutions and employees, improve public service delivery, and set better terms and conditions for the public servants. Mr. Speaker, allow me to elaborate on these reforms, beginning with legislative reform in the Ministry of Public Service. The existing Public Service Act was enacted in 1988, that is more than 37 years ago. And in subsidiary legislations, the General Order was gazetted in 1998. The Act and the Order has served their purpose well and now needs review. Reforming the public service to begin with the review of the Public Service Act and the General Orders. The review established the need for a more modern and relevant legislative framework to replace the outdated legislation. A new public service bill has been drafted and is now ready to be tabled in this Parliament in the next meeting. With the subsidiary legislation, namely the Public Service Regulation and the Public Service Orders, are in drafting process with the Attorney General's Chamber. These new laws and regulation clarify functions, roles, and responsibilities. They outline the values and principles of leadership, of public management, and a code of conduct. These laws also establish systems and processes used in recruitment, in discipline, in performance management, training, and capacity development. This law promotes building a principle-based culture of service, of integrity, public confidence in the government and its public services. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm pleased to report that the Cabinet has already endorsed the following bill and policies and strategies as part of the Ministry of Public Service legislative reform agenda. The Public Service Bill 2025 has been endorsed by Cabinet in March 2025 and is ready to be tabled in Parliament in the next parliamentary meeting. The Public Service Transformation Strategy 2023 to 2033. The Gender Equality and Social Inclusion Policy, the Public Service Housing Assistance. The Ministry is currently reviewing the following subsidiary legislations and policies. The Public Service Regulation, the draft is still with is now currently with the AG Chambers. The Public Service Order is either drafting under the AG Chambers, and the Performance Management Policy. Mr. Speaker, discipline is part of the process of managing public servants and ensure ethical standards are practiced in the public service. Discipline and investigation of cases of alleged misconduct are ongoing. By April this year, 2025, there were 10 reported cases of alleged misconduct. The Ministry of Public Service under delegated authority is dealing with these discipline cases, providing opportunity to hear all parties involved and provide evidence of each case. This is important to restore public confidence and trust in the public service. In 2023, there were 30 alleged misconduct reported, 20 report cases in 2024, and by April 2025, we have 10 cases so far. we hope to see an improvement in discipline and reduction in reports of misconduct. Mr. Speaker, the ongoing legislative reform is also intended to improve public service delivery and advance institutional and public administration process and policies. It is also intended to setting better terms and conditions for the public servants. Believe me. This thrive for better terms and conditions of public servants and are evident in the following policy reforms and programs. There are 40 officers contracted from January to April 2025. This will bring in total contracted officers to over 122 offices. The ministry is working hard to contract all 322 officers eligible for contract under the Umi Waka Good contracting program. This contracting program is performance-based, and we ensure contracted officers perform to their best and deliver services expected of them. The cost of living adjustment, Mr. Speaker said, Parliament has endorsed a 3% COLA for public service in 2025, in the 2025 budget. This COLA will be paid out to public servants in the second quarter of 2025. With regards to the public service housing, we have issues with taxing of rental eligibility under the Public Service Housing Assistance Policy. If rental eligibility is taxed at 40%, public servants will not afford to rent houses. The ministry is liaising with the Minister of Finance to explore options to legally resolve this tax issue before the housing scheme is implemented. Mr. Speaker said the Mamara housing is part of the public service housing scheme. Rent-to-own arrangement depends on the rental eligibility of an officer under the Public Service Housing Assistance. The tax issue affecting rental eligibility also affects the rent-to-own program, as tax applies to all forms of income. This will be resolved when the PSHA issue is settled. Mr. Speaker, one of the key improvements we have seen since last year is the introduction of the annual leave package for our public servants. This marks a significant step forward in how we value and support our workforce. In the past, many of our public servants experienced delays while waiting for the Ministry of Finance and Treasury to process their annual leave payments, often receiving them late or not at all during their time off. But those days are gone, Mr. Speaker said. Today, under the new system, once you are on leave, approved leave, your annual leave package is paid directly to you without delay. Further, this package is structured and paid according to levels, making it transparent, fair, and consistent across the public service. So this reform reflects our ongoing commitment to efficiency, accountability, and respect for the rights of our dedicated public servants. Mr. Speaker, as the Minister of Public Service, I reaffirm our commitment to addressing these challenges head-on. We will work tirelessly to transform the culture of public service to ensure that our workforce is fairly treated and equipped to meet the needs of our citizens. With this reform, I'm confident that we will create a public service that is efficient, accountable, and driven by the core values of professionalism, dedication to public duty, and dedication to public duty. Together, we will build a stronger, more responsive public service that is better equipped to serve the people of Solomon Islands. With this, I support the motion and I receive my seat. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. We give the floor to the Honourable Minister for Lands and Housing and Survey and MP for Malaita Islands. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to participate in the debate on the traditional speech from the throne delivered by His Excellency, Reverend David Tifakapu, the Governor General of Solomon Islands, during the opening of the 10th meeting of the 12th Parliament on April 24, 2025. First, I wish to express my appreciation to the Prime Minister for providing this platform that enables His Excellency to present this important address. I sincerely thank His Excellency Reverend Sir David Tiva Kapu for his inspiring, unifying and strategic speech which called for collective effort to realize the national vision, goals and policy under the government for national unity and transformation. Mr. Speaker, there is power in unity. When we come together, we can pool our resources, skills, and influence to attain achievements that will otherwise be impossible. Unity fosters solidarity, motivation, and resiliency. So, His Excellency reflected on our national mottos: to lead is to serve. It is a guiding principle for all citizens, not just leaders. It reminds us that every citizen has a role to play in building a better Solomon Islands. Mr. Speaker, the success of initiatives such as 2023 Pacific Games demonstrates that with shared vision, ownership, dedication, and collective determination, our nation can accomplish remarkable feats. These achievements highlight our capacity to overcome challenges through unity. Furthermore, the success of the GNAT vision relies on collective effort, building national unity, fostering economic development, and ensuring prosperity are responsibilities shared by all, emphasizing that our progress depends on our combined commitment and service to the nation. Mr. Speaker, my ministry plays a vital role in achieving the GNAT vision, especially through pillars like economic transformation, infrastructure development. Our efforts align with both our national development strategy and the Sustainable Development Goals. The Governor General address rightly pointed out that land remains central to our development. It is not merely a physical asset, but the core of our social, economic, and cultural identity. Land is fundamental to community life and national progress. Mr. Speaker, a distinctive feature of our land policy landscape is the dominance of customary land ownership, with around 85% of land under indigenous management. Such ownership is managed and inherited through traditional systems rather than formal legal titles, embedding land deeply in our cultural fabric. Mr. Speaker, the government recognizes, as highlighted in the Governor General's speech, the necessity of strengthening land law reforms to support inclusive and sustainable growth. Unlocking land potential across urban, rural, customary areas requires policies that respect ownership rights while enabling productive use. So, effective land management is essential to avoid issues such as delayed economic activities or marginalization of customary landowners, which could lead to social tension and hinder development. Mr. Speaker, to date, my ministry has made significant progress, issuing certificates to 25 customary land holdings groups across provinces, including Isabel, Holkanau, Malaita, and Western, reflecting ongoing efforts to formalize customary land rights and improve land management. Mr. Speaker, on the first anniversary of the GNAT land and urban development policy under the Ministry of Lands marks significant progress in advancing sustainable land management and housing initiatives. Over the past year, the GNAT has successfully initiated several key components outlined in its policy metrics, notably efforts to strengthen land allocation, administration, and enforcement mechanisms have resulted in more transparent processes and reduced incidents for illegal land grabbing. Formalization of informal settlement has gained momentum through target surveys and assessment, leading to improved living conditions and enhanced access to essential service for residents. Also, my ministry is currently working on the policy on illegal squatting and hopefully get the endorsement from the cabinet. The implementation of a tire rental system for public officers is progressing smoothly, offering housing subsidies and grants based on income levels and fostering equitable access to affordable housing. Additionally, land subdivision and allocation program for public servants have begun to facilitate home ownership, aligning with the goal of promoting individual and family stability. The GNAT has actively supported urban planning revision, including reviewing regulatory frameworks and advancing the national urbanization policy to establish comprehensive local planning schemes that promote well-planned urban growth. Mr. Speaker, I thank the Honourable Leader of Opposition for raising the issue of housing in all urban areas and the challenge we are currently facing, especially young professionals. The Ministry is currently working on the first draft of the National Housing Policy, which is focused on developing affordable housing for all, and this policy makes housing a fundamental right and national priority. This policy defines affordability, identifies key target groups, and outlines a multi-faceted approach involving supply increases, financial support, equitable access measures, land management, regulatory reform, quality standards, and collaborative efforts across sectors and levels of government. Mr. Speaker, technological integration remains a cornerstone of the policy agenda. My ministry is currently working on a cabinet paper seeking endorsement on a project to modernization of the Solomon Island geodetic data. Currently, we are using Solomon 1968 geodetic data. We will be seeking assistance from the New Zealand government to support the ministry with modernizing of our geodetic data. This includes the deployment of the technology and updated satellite imagery, significantly enhancing land mapping accuracy and accessibility. This tool facilitates comprehensive inventories of alienated, customary, and crown land, providing a modernized land registry vital for informed decision-making and sustainable management. On the policy on climate change and resettlement, there has also been some positive strides with collaborative initiatives underway to support community relocation and resettlement efforts. Overall, the first year of policy implementation demonstrates strong commitment and tangible progress towards a transparent, equitable, and sustainable land management system that supports social and economic development across the country. The importance of land in social and economic spheres cannot be overstated. Land is vital for sectors like agriculture, forestry, tourism, and resources extraction, which are crucial for our economic growth. Mr. Speaker, my ministry continues to work on its legislative program, and the ongoing land law reform review aims to clarify issues related to land transfer, subdivision, and leasing, making this process more transparent and accessible. This review will also incorporate provision for sustainable land use, planning, and environmental consideration. Crucially, the reform seeks to establish accessible dispute resolution mechanism, enabling land conflicts to be resolved amicably and efficiently. A clear, consistent, and culturally sensitive legal framework will foster confidence among landowners, investors, and the government agency, and promote economic activity. These land sector reforms align with the overarching goals of the National Development Strategy 2016 to 2035, which envisions improving the social and economic livelihoods of all Solomon Islanders. A key objective is to achieve sustained and inclusive economic growth. Mr. Speaker, there is a clear link between land, economic development, and employment. Reforms in land law will help promote investment and job creation in rural sectors such as fishery, tourism, thereby improving livelihoods and reducing poverty, especially among youth. By strengthening land rights and improving land management, we can unlock its full development potential, benefiting both urban and rural communities and fostering social harmony and environmental sustainability. The high prevalence of customary land ownership in Solomon Islands presents both opportunities and challenges. It offers a foundation for community-based development while requiring appropriate legal and policy framework to manage land resources effectively. Mr. Speaker, the GNAT government is committed to strengthening land law reform efforts to support such inclusive growth. This reform aims to create an environment where customary land can be productively utilized while respecting traditional ownership rights and cultural values. Mr. Speaker, efforts also include advancing land registration activity. As of 2025, 25 certificates have been issued to numerous customary groups across several provinces, contributing to formalizing land rights and facilitating development. Mr. Speaker, the principle guiding our land reform initiative emphasizes transparency, fairness, and cultural sensitivity. We recognize that sustainable development depends on inclusive policy that respect customary ownership and promote equitable benefit. These reforms are vital to creating a stable environment where land can serve as a catalyst for economic diversification, environmental management, and social cohesion. Mr. Speaker, the task ahead for my ministry is substantial. Addressing the long-standing land tenure challenges through comprehensive land law reform is a priority. By reviewing the Land and Title Act, strengthening customary land recording, and establishing partnerships that benefit landowners, we are laying a solid foundation for economic growth and employment. Mr. Speaker, these efforts contribute to realizing the GNAT vision, aligning with the objective of the National Development Strategy, and fulfilling our commitment to SDGs. We aim to unlock land's full potential to support inclusive growth, environmental sustainability, and social harmony. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, the government-led reforms in the land sector are pivotal to national development. They are designed to clarify land transfer and land and leasing processes, ensure sustainable land use, and resolve conflicts effectively. My ministry team is committed to working with our development partners and stakeholders to ensure timely and effective implementation of these reforms. I want to thank DFAT, ADB, UN Habitat, IOM, and all partners who in one way or the other supported my ministry programs. Together through unity of purpose and shared responsibility, we can achieve transformative progress for Solomon Islands. Thank you once again for the opportunity to share this remark. I now resume my seat.
Thank you. We'll give the floor to the Honourable Minister for Provincial Government and Institutional Strengthening, if you are available. Have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Speaker, for allowing the Minister for Provincial Government and Institutional Strengthening and Member for Langalanga to contribute to the motion moved by the good Honourable Prime Minister. Before me go the remarks from me, let me say, Wuvuge, Lena Jola, Jongana, to my good people where you listen, come out, not radios or media. The motion reads, Speaker Sir, that an address be presented to His Excellency the Governor General as follows. We, the National Parliament of Solomon Islands, here assembled, beg leave to offer thanks for the speech which has been addressed by His Excellency the Governor General to Parliament on April 24, 2025. Speaker Sir, the other colleagues, just like other colleagues, members of Parliament who spoke before me, allow me to thank the Governor General, His Excellency, for the well-presented speech from the throne. Mr. Speaker, allow me to make some observations as a response to the speech from the throne. First, in terms of foreign relations. While it is important that we continue to uphold our foreign policy of friends to all and enemy to none, and that a new foreign policy framework to guide our international relations and engagement is in the making, I'm also important, Mr. Speaker. It is essential that as a country, we need to indigenize our foreign policy. Additionally, Mr. Speaker, Honera needs to move beyond all foreign policy rhetoric. Me like to say also too, Mr. Speaker, I think him also time too for you, me as a country, we come up with them own common law blame, one national common law blame. We start off with Honera. We take them all our customs, harmonizing, and we come up with them one. Mr. Speaker, peace in this country is still a work in progress. To continuously advance stability, the state, as an important player, must continue to work closely with our provincial governments, our traditional governance system, and invigorate church partnerships. These intricate relationships are important for peaceful coexistence and advancement. Third, Mr. Speaker, the proposed customary land reforms highlighted by His Excellency must also be welcomed. These land reforms are central to dispelling doubts that have long hindered the viability of customary land. Mr. Speaker, customary land is crucial for economic development and the advancement of landowners. Land must be available for economic growth, and development must not be exclusive but inclusive of all relevant parties. Speaker Semi also subscribe to what the Minister for Foreign Affairs alluded to a couple of days ago, and the good Prime Minister and other members who wanted reforms on our standing orders, the Constitution too, especially when it comes to motion of no confidence, Mr. Speaker. We want to urge him, no matter that part of the reforms, you should also include the motion and file reasons, allegations, particulars about issues where you may like to move against the city PM, and must also be set out clearly too. Also. With these few remarks relating to the speech from the throne, Mr. Speaker, allow me this time for me highlighting some of the priorities and achievements made by my ministry until to date. Sir, as you are aware, the Provincial Government Act is old and needs quick fixes. Your good speaker is aware that this amendment review to the Provincial Government Act 1997, long time little better. The House also knows that it's been announced some 5 years ago, way back in 2020. Some of these issues, we felt were first time no parliament here, we felt inherited. But that doesn't stop us, Mr. Speaker. We are pushing hard for it to be tabled in this House. So, work on him this time. I think the last thing no more is to have our provincial partners, the premiers, consultation with the Mogota, and then we should bring the amendment for tabling in this House, Mr. Speaker. In that regard, Mr. Speaker, the also mitalem provincial consultations maybe should hold maybe in June or early July this year. Mr. Speaker, we also like to inform this House that the national government has elevated the Taro Town project from a provincial project to a national project. That is one big achievement there, Mr. Speaker. Sir, such elevation to a national scale is important to ensure more strategic support for such essential projects going forward. Sir, such infrastructure development will be beneficial for Choice Province and, of course, our country, Solomon Islands at large. Mr. Speaker, the Provincial Capacity Development Fund, or PCDF, of the Provincial Governance Strengthening Program, PGSP, as you are aware, is a homegrown initiative that is based on a performance-based grant system. This initiative has been supported by the World Bank and the Solomon Islands government. The PCDF, Mr. Speaker, aims to strengthen the 9 provinces with the required capacity to deliver services to the people of Solomon Islands. Mr. Speaker, allow me to highlight that the impact of the initiative, as of the end of 2023, the 9 provinces have delivered over 1,600 solid projects through the Provincial Capacity Development Fund. Mr. Speaker, in terms of the Provincial Capacity Development Fund, last year I made it clear that the minimum conditions, which are the tools of the PCDF mechanisms, shall continue to be reviewed periodically to incorporate the best international practices and to ensure greater equity. Early this month, the review of the PCDF mechanism undertaken by an international expert, which was supported by local consultants, was completed and is currently under further review for the onward transmission to the Joint Oversight Committee and Cabinet for further directions. Sir, given the credibility of the PCDF mechanism, the local climate adaptive living facility, or LOCAL, is being anchored on the existing performance base grant of the Provincial Capacity Development Fund of the PGSP. Mr. Speaker, in terms of locale, it is combined. Funding of SPD, 128 million to our provincial governments. It is aimed at unlocking financing that empowers local communities and the provincial governments to take the lead in climate adaptation in the most critical areas. This funding is from the New Zealand government and the European Union. Mr. Speaker, allow me to make mention of the roles of ward support officers and ward development committees and their relations. At the rural areas, the support of ward support officers is very important. This is because the ward support officers connect provincial governments and local communities and ensure ward development committees effectively implement ward development grants and raise community awareness on various issues like disaster preparedness and climate change adaptation. Sir, since adopting the policy blueprint on ward development committees, the 9 provincial governments have transferred SBD 61.4 million in ward development grants. The WDCs have completed 593 micro projects within 3 years, with another 1,419 in progress. The WSOs have facilitated cost-effective data collection, serving SBD 823,337 on baseline costs alone. Mr. Speaker, a significant milestone in social accountability is the piloting of provincial performance forums. These forums, held between March and May this year across several provinces, allowing community members to discuss provincial fund expenditures by the provincial executive and WDC executives. Public scrutiny is invited for various reports, including the provincial budget, the CDF assessment, audit reports, and WDG expenditure. Sir, last year I had the privilege of leading a delegation consisting of provincial premiers to China. So this trip provided the provincial premiers with valuable insights into China's development trajectory. In light of the outcomes from this trip, our provinces are poised to pursue enhanced economic partnerships with selected provinces in China. Later this year, Mr. Speaker, specifically around late May, a delegation from the Isabel government will travel to China to negotiate and engage in development initiatives aimed at strengthening Isabel's sister relationship with the Shandong province of China. In addition, the Western province has also established a sister relationship with Fujian province, which commenced last year. Recently, a high-level delegation from China's Fujian province arrived in Honiara, marking a significant advancement in the ongoing partnership between Fujian province and the Western province provincial government. Mr. Speaker, we anticipate the more fruitful engagements and partnerships between the provinces of Solomon Islands and China will emerge in the forthcoming months. Mr. Speaker, my ministry is working closely with the Ministry of Women, Youth, Children and Family Affairs to establish a task force to examine the several legislative options for the inclusion of women in our provincial assemblies. Sir, studies done by the Ministry of Women and related stakeholders have confirmed substantial support for such inclusion at the provincial level. Therefore, this is an important reform to elevate the political participation of women in provincial politics. Speaker, sir, with these few remarks, I beg to resume my seat. But before I do that, once again, let me thank the Governor General for his speech from the throne, and also allow me to acknowledge, celebrate, and pay my respect to the people of Guadalcanal, Mr. Speaker, particularly the original land and sea owners of Honera City, on whose lands we meet and walk, and whose cultures and good practices continue to have us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now resume my seat.
Thank you. We give the floor first to the Honourable MP for East Arare.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, and thank you, colleagues, for allowing me the floor to make a contribution to this motion. At the outset, I'd just like to thank the Prime Minister for moving this motion that an address be presented to His Excellency, the Governor-General, as follows. We, the National Parliament of Solomon Islands, here assembled, beg leave to offer thanks for the speech which has been addressed by His Excellency, the Governor-General, to Parliament on 24th April 2025. So I'd like to just add my voice to those who have already spoken in terms of thanking the Prime Minister for moving this motion. At the same time, I'd like to also congratulate new ministers that have taken up their new roles in the executive side of the House. That is to be recognized and to be congratulated. Also to congratulate the new Deputy Speaker of Parliament as well, that has been elected by the House. So congratulations all around in terms of our work together, moving our nation forward. Mr. Speaker, sir, in terms of the speech from the throne, I have some observations to make that will be perhaps along the lines of the speech as it was delivered, but particularly focusing on the laws and the legislative program that was announced as well at the end of his speech for what the intention of GNAT would be for this year, Mr. Speaker, sir. But just starting off, I think a general observation would be that as a speech from the throne by the Vice Regal or the representative of the King, our monarch, here in the Solomon Islands, perhaps sets how I'd like to see it, an enabling environment whereby the government of the day is looking to deliver in terms of its policies to advance our nation moving forward. So I think it's important that this enabling environment is something that as governments, as parliamentarians, we're all aware that this is something that we all should be aiming for. We're all aiming to set an enabling environment by which this country can take off. And I think in doing that, we have to realize what we can do and perhaps more importantly, what we cannot do. Because we cannot do everything, Mr. Speaker, sir. Our powers are there to set the environment for this nation and its citizens, the entrepreneurs, the resource owners of this country to really be the ones to push this nation forward, Mr. Speaker, sir. So I think it's important for us at the outset to really recognize the importance of our work here in setting that environment that would allow those that really need to do the work to really be free to do it and provide the incentives that they need to take this country forward. That is all we can do, Mr. Speaker, sir. That is important for us to realize, and I think all of us here, we realize that in terms of that is our role, in terms of setting the policies, putting the laws in place that would enable our citizens to move ahead in advancing our nation forward. Mr. Speaker says. So of course we have to provide the leadership, the strategic vision, and of course the means of implementation as well in terms of what it is we can do to help push our visions forward, Mr. Speaker said. And I think in the outset, having that mindset already from the outset would help in terms of what it is that we're doing in terms of governments, in terms of leaders of this nation in moving our country forward. I would also like to comment, Mr. Speaker, sir, on the 4 strategic policy pillars as it's been described here in the speech from the throne, listing the fundamental sector, productive sector, and the social sector, and then finally the resource sector, Mr. Speaker. So I understand that this is done perhaps to help organize and thinking within government, but I would like to caution here as well in terms of building silos, building perhaps divisions even within government, because some of these enabling environment that we're looking to create will need an all-of-government approach. Every single ministry would have to be in line, in tune, to deliver a strategic vision that what it is that we're trying to do, Mr. Speaker, sir. So while I understand perhaps the role of such divisions in terms of these 4 sectors, I would just like to caution here that I think we should also not forget that many of the big fundamental shifts that need to happen will need an all-of-government approach. So we should not be sticking to the silos of these sectors. They all interact, Mr. Speaker, sir, in their own strengths, in contributing towards a vision that I'm sure GNAT is looking to deliver for our people, Mr. Speaker, sir. And when it comes to the office of the Prime Minister and Cabinet, I think it's important that the work that this important office does continues to be one that is supported by everybody, all ministries in terms of government, in terms of contributing to what it is that the vision of the Prime Minister and the office is looking to deliver. And I think this year we've already heard there's a lot of important activities will be happening, events. One big one is the Forum Leaders Meeting that will be happening at the end of this year. Mr. Speaker, sir, September. This is an opportunity for Solomon Islands to take the helm of the regional leadership by hosting this very important event on our shores, Mr. Speaker, sir. I would like to also, in this regard, raise an issue that should not sidetrack in terms of what it is, the focus, the agenda. I know it's been discussed, what should be the themes of the forum. But I think it should not be overtaken by geopolitical issues, Mr. Speaker, sir. I'm talking particularly about the participation of the Taiwan in terms of being able to attend the forum as they have been attending for years in their role as a partner, development partner, Mr. Speaker, sir. I think we should really be looking at the deliverables that we can deliver from the outcome, rather than being caught up in issues of geopolitics that might not be a good legacy for us as Solomon Islands as a host nation, Mr. Speaker, sir. I, for one, am hearing stories that are quite concerning about perhaps not inviting or not allowing members of Taiwan, officials and delegates to come and attend the meeting and participating in their particular designated roles already and for us, Mr. Speaker says. So I think I would just like to urge the government here to already start to think about this and not be seen to be going against our tradition in terms of our development partners. Of course, Taiwan might not now be our own development partner as they were for 36 years, but there are other members of the Pacific Island Forums who still have Taiwan as their development partner as well. We understand that, Mr. Speaker says. So I think I would just like to flag that as a concern. If that could be something that can be addressed already, so that we can focus on the deliverables and outcomes that Solomon Islands and Honiara can deliver for this upcoming Pacific Island Leaders Forum meeting, Mr. Speaker, sir. In terms of our budget and the finance, I think we all know that the deficit that is there of $1.2 billion is a big concern in terms of how to plug that gap. I think that is something that the government is very much aware of, and I'm encouraged by the fact that they're already looking to endorsing a financing strategy to address the shortfall, as was mentioned by His Excellency, the Governor General, and I think that it should be welcome. I think being in a deficit budget is not something that is frowned upon. Many countries in the world actually have deficit budgets, but I think for a small country like ours, I think it's important that we try to balance our budget as much as possible, Mr. Speaker, sir. Bigger countries, of course, have the luxury of having deficit budget in all of their budgets, Mr. Speaker, sir. But as a small nation, I think it's good and of good governance that we try to balance our budget as we move forward. The issues of perhaps loans that might be taken to cover some of this shortfall would be something that I'm sure the government is very concerned about. And I would just like to echo that, that whatever we do to cover this shortfall, that we don't get into a bigger hole, as it were. So when we try and cover this gap, we don't fall into a bigger hole in terms of our commitments when it comes to loans that we might be looking to take out in terms of covering some of these shortfalls, Mr. Speaker, sir. And I think related to this as well is how we deal with NPF, Mr. Speaker, sir. It's very important that we continue to see NPF as an independent body and not being another arm of government or not being just another financial institution whereby government can reach into and perhaps help themselves to funding there. I think it's important for us to also recognize that the NPF, the money belongs to the people of Solomon Islands, and that we as a government need to be very prudent in how we use that money and the people's money moving forward, Mr. Speaker, sir. I think it's important that we should not lose sight of the role that NPF plays, but that it's also independent, Mr. Speaker, sir. In this regard, we keep hearing about announcements that are made, including in the tourism sector, of perhaps NPF going to be partnering with overseas partners in building hotels, five-star hotels. Very good approaches. For example, the one that will be built, I think, near the SMI, the old SMI. Those are good, but at the same time, we need to be prudent in terms of who it is that we're inviting to partner with NPF and whether that money from NPF would be wisely used in terms of those particular activities, economic activities. Because once again, this money belongs to the people. We have to be very clear, and we have to ensure that the process and the due diligence is there to ensure that the NPF money is spent wisely, and the investment that we're hoping to get in return is one that is realistic and is not one that perhaps might not be reached, Mr. Speaker, sir. So I think I would like to see as well more prudence around this particular issue connected to finance, particularly financing of government activities using the National Provident Fund. I think it's good that we keep that quite separate and independent as it is now, but not to put too much pressure on that, and make sure consultations are always there in terms of what it is we're looking to have the fund support, especially in terms of our investment in important projects that the government might have in mind, Mr. Speaker, sir. Foreign Affairs, Mr. Speaker, sir, a very important ministry as well. And of course, I see here that I think the government is taking the policy to now really focus on LDC graduation. And I think that is important in terms of taking that first step to recognize that, yes, let us bite the bullet or let us take this step and start planning for it. So I think I see here that it seems to be that the government is now taking the step in terms of 2027 graduation, if I'm not wrong, and I think that it should be commended, that we now take a bold step in terms of moving forward towards that direction. And by doing so, the partners that are continually working with us will also see our efforts in moving forward. They will not want us to backslide when we do graduate. But we need to put everything in place in order to ensure the smooth transition does occur. And once again, it's good to remind our people, especially the private sector, to be involved in the smooth transition of this particular issue. Not to get them scared about the fact that perhaps people are saying that this will stop on the date of graduation. No, there's smooth transition that you can continue to have still preferential treatment, still continuing on with certain partners based on our negotiations with them, individually as well as collectively, Mr. Speaker says. So there are opportunities for us to work together, but at the same time, I think the government policy, as I read it, is to now look forward to graduation, and I think that should push us to not be complacent, but to allow us to work harder in terms of making sure we get to graduation in a good frame and in a good state, Mr. Speaker said. Of course, closely related to that is the Ministry of Planning, which will be driving this particular issue moving forward. LDC graduation is definitely something that could help in terms of our investment outlook as well. Our partners might be looking more favorably to a country that is not tied with the labeling of LDC or the other structures that are part and parcel usually with an LDC country. So I think those policy decisions that the government is taking should be commended if it is really one to move the country forward and graduate out of LDC category. Of course, we don't know what's in the future. There might be some natural hazards that might befall us, that might also set back our timetables, but let's continue to move forward in faith with regards to graduating, Mr. Speaker said. Public service, we keep hearing of reforms that are coming for a while, and we look forward to the bill that is coming that would be seen and discussed and deliberated on by this Parliament, so we look forward to that. Traditional governance, another important part of our system. Our previous speaker, the Minister for Provincial Government, mentioned Indigenous perhaps lens and focus in what we do. I think this particular ministry is one that is all focused on that particular issue of traditional governance. And this is where we can be very, I believe, Mr. Speaker, very innovative in how we can do things, knowing full well our uniqueness and unique position in terms of a diverse country, indigenous country, led by an indigenous government. All of us sitting around this August House here are linked to our tribes. There's very rarely said in many of the parliaments in the world. They cannot say that. But for us here, it's a privilege that all of us can trace our tribes. Astaka tribe, I think some of them 2, 3, 4 tribe or 7. That is a unique character in itself, and something that we should look to utilize in terms of something really unique for our people. I think in terms of what I was talking about earlier, about the need to not silo ministries and the work that we do in helping our people, I think there's something that can be done, even on issues of land, traditional governance here, issues on investment under the Ministry of Commerce, to ensure that investors meet earlier on with those that are custodians of land and resources that they might want to be involved in. All of those, Ministry of Lands, Ministry of Traditional Governance, Ministry of Commerce, foreign affairs, when you're talking to investors already, get our people engaged earlier on rather than later. That is very, very important, I think. And I think it would help move our country forward rather than having our landowners and resource owners coming in later in the game and perhaps not feeling part of the process moving forward and becoming a hindrance to any development ideas, great ideas that the government might have. It's be good to have them right up in front and involve them in these negotiations, in these discussions, right up from in the beginning. So I think there are opportunities there that we can work together, all the ministries that are tasked with this, to ensure that when there's investors coming in, that our people on the ground, where the investment might be held or looked into or occur, they will be involved right from the beginning, Mr. Speaker, sir. Those are some of the examples that I was referring to in terms of why we might need a whole of government approach in many of the issues that we might want to do to move our nation forward, Mr. Speaker, sir. The one that we're also looking forward to that I don't see at the end in terms of His Majesty, Governor General, His Excellency's statement is with regards to the cybercrime bill. I see that it's mentioned in the Aviation and Communication as being one that is being drafted, but it's not included at the end as one that is intended to be brought in this House. But I think it's very important that this one be brought just like the others, so that we can really deal with issues of cyber crime or cyber safety, cyber security. Those are very important for us in this day and age, Mr. Speaker, sir. So I'm sure just because it's not at the back doesn't mean that it might not be coming. I think it's just something that is we would welcome its addition to this House, Mr. Speaker, sir, particularly this year as well, in terms of considering it. In terms of Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock, this is very, very important for us. We know that agriculture remains the backbone of our country, food security issues, but also potential for exports as well in that particular sector and ministry. So it's something that we continue to support, and of course we would like to see more resources put into that particular ministry in moving it forward. I'm also very encouraged by the mention here in the tourism about the investment-ready sites, identifying investment-ready sites. This is very important because investors are not just interested in tax breaks or how much percentage you might give to them or the grace periods of the year that you might be giving to them, but they also very much, and perhaps more so, about the site-specific place. They want to see the photos, videos of where it is that they will be investing in. So the days of just simply providing a blanket tax regime for tourism perhaps is gone. We need to also put site-specific areas now so that they know where it is that they will be putting their money in. So that is something that I very much I'm encouraged by, to see it already mentioned here, the idea of identification of investment-ready sites for our tourism. That is very much welcome. When it comes to lands, of course, I had mentioned already important work that is continuing. My own constituency has benefited already from our work on the land boundary, customary land boundary recognition. That is something that I think is important. I see here some mention to tribal lands as well. I think that is some work that is forthcoming as well. We look forward to that. I think this is an area where we can be very innovative, Mr. Speaker, in terms of putting a registry of our tribes of Solomon Islands. From the east to the west, Mr. Speaker, sir, we keep on talking about our diversity, but we need to know who our tribes, where our tribes are, Mr. Speaker, sir, what sort of support we can give to tribes as well. And I think there's a great opportunity there that we can do something that is quite unique from other countries by recognizing and registering, putting a registry of tribes that everybody can see the tribes of Solomon Islands, Mr. Speaker, sir. And of course, that has to deal with management of the area as well. So automatically you're dealing with an area when you're starting to talk about tribes as well, Mr. Speaker, sir, as you know full well. Mr. Speaker, so when it comes to fisheries, we know that's a very important sector for us, and we continue to look forward to the policies that the government is bringing forward through this speech from the throne, Mr. Speaker, sir, and Bina Harbour keeps on being a focus here with, in terms of tuna processing. And once again, we have to be very clear in terms of the policies that we're getting involved in. We know that we already have a salt tuna operating. Some say perhaps half capacity as well. There are potential for it to be more fuller capacity in terms of production. We need to find out why it is such, why the case that it's not operating in its full capacity. At the same time, we want to bring in another processing tuna plant here. We need to be clear as well as to what it is we're going to be processing there, that kind of species, as well as whether it's going to be for local consumption or both local and also trade. These are areas that I think the government is already thinking about when we're already thinking about these kinds of products. That is something very important, that the policy be set, the foundation be laid already, knowing full well what kind of processing you'll be doing and whether the market is local or whether it will be international or whether it will be both, because that is something that would determine, of course, the business case for such a plant to be constructed in the first place, Mr. Speaker, sir. I also welcome the ideas around sea cucumber. For some in our country, in terms of our resources, that is perhaps the only resource that many have access to some financial income. I think that is very much welcome. I think the time has come for us to deal directly with buyers overseas and perhaps avoid middlemen. So that's how people can get the best pricing for their produce and their product as well, Mr. Speaker says. So if the government can facilitate a market for this directly overseas, that would give the best pricing for our people, I think that would be something that is very much welcomed as well, Mr. Speaker said. When it comes to the sector for infrastructure, I very much welcome the idea and the thinking about perhaps looking at the PWD and the resurrection of PWD again. I think that is something that I would support. I note, Mr. Speaker, sir, that this is a key part of my own party's policy, is to revive PWD as a division that would help, particularly in the township areas, in the roads in town, the infrastructure in town, allow them to be the ones responsible. I think that is very, very important, Mr. Speaker, sir. Knowing the history behind why PWD was removed in the first place, I think is important. I think government is aware as to why that was the case initially. I think some advisors from some financial institutions, perhaps saying that it's too bloated, perhaps saying that it costs too much money. But then nowadays, it's costing a lot more money, I think, now with the current structure that we have and the current arrangements that we have. So perhaps it's time to revisit and seriously think about the PWD making a comeback and helping out in our infrastructure, particularly in the townships around our country, Mr. Speaker, sir. Education is so important, Mr. Speaker, sir. Something transformative in this particular area would be, of course, free education, Mr. Speaker, sir. Have opportunity whereby our children can access education and enjoy the opportunity of education, Mr. Speaker, sir. We know that education is a key to any nation moving ahead. So let us try and facilitate it as much as possible, Mr. Speaker, sir. Education is a right that our children should be able to claim, Mr. Speaker, sir. So it should not be a hindrance or hindered by higher school fees, Mr. Speaker, sir. And I think there are ways that we can do this, Mr. Speaker, in terms of getting our children to school in a way that is affordable, both primary, secondary, as well as in tertiary, Mr. Speaker, sir, particularly as it relates to our senior. Perhaps we can't do it with USB, given it's a regional institution, but with senior, I'm sure we can find ways whereby our students can also enjoy tertiary education, knowing full well, if the statistics is right, that we have the lowest number of tertiary graduates in the Pacific. So we need to have a policy response to that, Mr. Speaker, sir. We need to have a policy response to how we can move up that percentage that I heard was as low as 4%, Mr. Speaker, sir. 4% of our population has a tertiary qualification, the lowest in the Pacific. If that is true, then that should warrant a rallying cry from the government to try and address this issue. And I think one of the big hindrances is fees, Mr. Speaker, sir. To go to senior now as a nurse, one semester is $10,000. 1 year is $20,000 for one. I have constituents who have done well, trying to get their families, with multiple children, going to tertiary education and then having to be punished by the high cost of education. It's a sad realization and a sad reality for many families, Mr. Speaker, sir. It seems to me that those children or those families that do well are the ones that are actually punished when it comes to education, because the cost of education is so high, Mr. Speaker, sir. Like I always like to say, the GNI per capita of Solomon Islands, gross national income, has been estimated around $2,200 US. That's probably about 20,000 Solomon Island dollars per person. But to have all that money spent just on education is very unreasonable, Mr. Speaker. So I'm sure there can be a formula that we can work out there to ensure that our fees are much more realistic in terms of affordability for our people. And that's just for tuition, let alone the cost of living in a city like Honiara, bus fares, food, all of that. You add on top of that, and then it becomes very, very unsustainable for our students. Mr. Speaker, so I think many colleagues around the room here in this August chamber will also share that same feeling or burden by people coming to ask for support, subsidizing perhaps even their education needs for their families, Mr. Speaker. So it's a very important part of our nation moving forward. Education is important. Of course, we have natural resources that are important for us. But of course, our human resources is always going to be our main focus and primary concern as a nation moving forward. Health, very important. We've heard already some great feedback from the Minister. We're hoping that the budget that he brings will be one that will be very much allowing him to deliver on the many of his vision for our health system. And we definitely, on this side of the House, I for one stand ready to support even more increases for him in the health sector for us, Mr. Speaker, sir. That is something that is very much important for us to continue to focus on. When it comes to provincial government, again, with the idea of working together with other ministries, I think the time is coming that we need to ensure that health and education is now wholly looked after by our ministries, by our provincial governments, as a way towards decentralization, Mr. Speaker, sir. I think we should start around those two important sectors, that we allow our provincial governments to be the ones that look after these important sectors and have more responsibility in that space. particularly financially. They have a lot of authority already, but I think in terms of finance, I think it's time that we now start to give them that responsibility as well, both for the health and the education, Mr. Speaker said. Decentralize those two as we continue our work on the state and federal system discussions that are always, that are also going to be happening as well simultaneously, Mr. Speaker said. Mr. Speaker, when it comes to power and electricity, we all know it's very important and encouraged by the 25% reduction over a 4-year, but I think we need to do more, Mr. Speaker, sir, and enable a policy whereby those that can get subsidies to get solars on their houses can also, if they don't use their power, give that power back to the grid, Mr. Speaker, sir. In effect, selling their power back to the grid when they're not using their power, Mr. Speaker, sir, if they have solars on their roofs. I think that is something that's been happening in many small island countries as well, in terms of that incentive being given to businesses that are allowed to do that, but at the same time, when they're not using that power, to contribute it back to the grid as well, I think would help in terms of alleviating some of the pressures that we are already currently facing in terms of our power needs for our country, and of course helping to drive down the cost of power as well. So these are policy options that I'm sure the government is already considering in terms of how we can move forward with our power needs and what we can do together, including with the private sector coming on board there as well. Mr. Speaker, sir, when it comes to rural development, it's important that I think regardless of which party we're in, we all know that rural development is the key to all our parties' policies. I think that is just a realization that many of our people actually still reside. Vast population of our people still reside in the rural areas, Mr. Speaker, sir. So it's only natural that all our party policies also have a big focus on rural development. And of course now we have a ministry on rural development. But I think in terms of further reforms, we've already started reforms with the CDF Act that has come in. I think the implementation of that is still something that we're looking forward to it being implemented. As a new law, it will have teething problems. I think that's something that we should also start to acknowledge and accept. But I think over the long run, I think it's a good start for us to start moving down that way. Some of us are, of course, nervous now that some of the powers that we used to have perhaps have been moved out of our hands and given to perhaps officers. But I think in the long run, in the long term, that is how we should be going, and I congratulate the previous government as well as GNAT to continue on this path. But I would like to see, Mr. Speaker, sir, even more independence in this particular area. We're talking about a huge amount of resource that is given each year, and that is something that I would like to see more independence in. Independence by way of moving perhaps towards creating a standalone entity that has perhaps a CEO that is not linked to any part of government, not to the executive. Doesn't have to be a minister. It can be a CEO that is tasked and accountable to make sure that this money is spent the way it should be spent, and that that CEO and his office is held accountable if they don't spend it accordingly. But I think that sort of independence would be a natural next step for us as well, in terms of moving forward and allowing us in this House, Mr. Speaker, to continue with our jobs as legislators and lawmakers. Of course, being involved in the planning of our constituencies, but that the delivery is done by an independent body, Mr. Speaker. So we don't have to look around too far from it or make things up. We know that there are countries already that are doing this, and the example of Kenya is one that I always like to point to, that they've already set up such a body, and they've had an evolution that we seem to be following in the same trajectory, Mr. Speaker, sir. So we should look at the lessons that they've learned and they've gone through and perhaps tailor it to fit our own context here, Mr. Speaker, sir, not cutting and pasting, but learning from their own examples as well, Mr. Speaker, sir. In terms of our legislative programs, that has been mentioned by the Governor-General in his speech from the throne. I note that there's 9, but I see throughout the statement, a speech that he has been referring to numerous other bills as well that are not listed here. But in terms of the special economic zone, I know that this is one that we will be looking at very, very soon. And we look forward to debating this because it's important for us to know exactly what this might entail for our people and our nation moving forward. We know that there are different types of economic zones that are in existence. There are those that are designated to a certain location, and then there's a law that is quite open to future designations, Mr. Speaker, sir. So I think it's good to have that conversation and that discussion when we do get to consider this bill. The public service bill is one that we look forward to. I think it's time we update our public service. Mineral resources bill is so important for us, but I think as a sign of good faith, it'll be good for us perhaps to rejoin the extraction transparency initiative. I think that is something that we could look into coming back into that again. I think we were there a few years ago. For whatever reason, we withdrew, but I think it's time to come back as a starting point towards this EATI, or what do they call it? I think it's time that we do that as a show of good faith. Of course, it's not binding, it's guidelines, but it allows us to also project ourselves here nationally, but also regionally and globally as an actor that wants to do things in the right way, that looks after environmental concerns as well as those of the people, that our own citizens. Mr. Speaker, sir. Electricity Amendment Bill is there. Once again, welcome the idea of independent regulator for electricity. This is something that I've been very much promoting, that I think it's time that we have an independent regulator for our electricity. We cannot continue to have a referee who is also the striker of one team, blows a whistle, puts the ball in front of a goal and also scores it. I think it's time to have a separate referee that is just looking at regulating our electricity and then perhaps even allowing other to come into this space and allowing competition. I think in the end we all understand that competition is the only way that we can really, truly and meaningfully reduce our cost in terms of electricity costs. So that is, I think, an aim I'm sure the government is heading towards, if you're already now starting to appoint a regulator that is independent. The national building standards, that is very important. You know, I heard the Minister for Health talking about the comprehensive health center, wiring perhaps not thick enough or not big enough for the building. You know, I think we really needed this bill to be in place so that when we build our buildings, we are already in standard. That is very very important to have this so that we don't have extra costs in terms of having to meet standards later, Mr. Speaker says. So that is something that we very much welcome. And of course, other bills that are coming on, including the Forestry, Resource and Timber Utilization Amendments. Mr. Speaker, sir, people keep on saying that this is a sunset industry, but I think the reality is that it's still continuing, Mr. Speaker, sir. And if done properly, it might not be a sunset because it's renewable. Trees regrow. So the idea is that if we can get our act together on this particular resource in terms of timber utilization, I think it's one that can be renewable for us, unlike minerals, which is perhaps a one-time kind of a deal. But I think with this one, I know that for us, myself in Istarare, next to my house, there's already a new arrival of logging interest already there as well now. So I keep hearing it's a sunset one, but I look out my window and it's actually sunrise for this particular industry in my own constituency and in fact in my own village. But I think it needs a better tightening so that the better protection are given to our people and the resources as well. I think the time has come for us to look at tightening up this particular law as well, Mr. Speaker, sir. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, I think in terms of what is perhaps missing here, but I've heard already mentioned, including by the Prime Minister, is the idea of perhaps a review of a Political Party Integrity Act. I think that is something that we could look into, strengthening as well. Moving forward, I think it's incumbent upon us to, as a young democracy, to ensure that our party system is one that is strengthened moving forward. And let us not try to weaken this one. So I think it's important that we move forward with this particular review that is coming forward. One that I see that is missing here that I would have liked to see us address early on is electoral reforms. If there are laws surrounding or bills surrounding electoral reforms, I think it's best that we start dealing with them sooner rather than right at the 11th hour, as has been the practice, at least in my own experience, in terms of how the electoral laws have been handled by this House. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to see and urge the government to bring in the great reforms in terms of electoral law reforms that they might be thinking about, to bring them in. The sooner the better, Mr. Speaker, sir, because that is at the heart of what it is, and the financing as well of elections as well. I'm sure we can also look at that and allow the government to start saving for our elections, because we cannot be continually funded by others for our own elections. Mr. Speaker, so we welcome their support, but at least we have to also do our bit in terms of funding our own democratic processes if we really believe in elections and what they stand for, giving an opportunity for our people once again to give the mandate that they want to give to whoever they want to give to represent them in this House, and working together towards a government that is democratically elected. So I encourage the Prime Minister to bring in those bills that I don't see here and perhaps might be missing. Another thing that I thought I'd just close on, Mr. Speaker, sir, is the idea about the strengthening our integrity institutions. I think it's been mentioned already by others in this House, but I think I see good governance in terms of tradition, governance in land, and all of that throughout the speech, but nothing on good governance particularly on good governance per se, and the support for those institutions that we have that promote good governance. I think in terms of any government, in order to reach our goals, of course we have a substantive side, but then we have the other softer side that is equally important, that involves good governance. All our plans are there, but they can go to waste if we don't have those institutions strengthened as well to play their role, to ensure that whatever we do in accordance with laws that we ourselves enact and put in place, that we do in standards of accountability, transparency. These are very important for us, any government that wants to be taken seriously to do. So I would like to see more support for our institutions that are serving that particular purpose for our nation. Very, very important that we do not leave them out in terms of the plans that the government has. Wonderful plans I see already in this speech, but that was one that I particularly noted was missing in terms of the idea that yes, there are very concrete things we can do in terms of the sectors we've been talking about, but at the same time, I think it's also important and equally important that we strengthen our integrity institutions and ones that keep us in checks and balance as we move on as well with our nation and our work. Mr. Speaker, sir. With those few words and remarks, I support this motion and I resume my seat. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member for East Reare. I will now suspend the sitting and we'll resume at 2:30 this afternoon.